On behalf of the City of Norfolk's Veterans Affairs Advisory Commission and the Office of Veteran Services and Military Affairs, we thank you for joining us on this Memorial Day, Monday, May 25th, 2026. I am Dr. Marcia Stewart, proud member of the City of Norfolk Veterans Affairs Advisory Committee and past commander of the Disabled American Veterans Chapter 21, Bernard L. Hines, here in Norfolk. Today, we gather as a community to honor the men and women of the United States Armed Forces who gave their lives in service to our nation. Their sacrifice preserves our freedom, our safety, and the values we cherish. Please rise for the presentation of colors and remain standing for the national anthem, the retirement of the colors, and the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. Present the colors.
Pinwheel, march. Ready, two. Salute, arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Retire the colors.
Carry arms. Right face. Forward, march.
Chief Warrant Officer for Bill Pont, USN retired, will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hi, Nick.
Go ahead.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Jehovah, we thank you for being our guide on in every single war, battle, and skirmish found across these lands and throughout the world, in every clime and place. We thank you for all who have gone into eternity in military service, for the example of their lives on the front line and in their households, and for the life and grace you gave to each of them and the peace in which they rest. On this day, people from all walks of life have come to remember all who gave their lives in service. Bless the memory of all of our fallen comrades of every branch throughout our nation's history, and bless every family that they left behind. From antiquity to antiquity, you, O Lord, have stood the watch until that fateful day when you adjourn time, and there is no longer a need to stand duty. We thank you for the faithful men and women who stand ready to fight and, if necessary, are prepared to die in service. Remind each of us who are now serving of our purpose, and when the going gets rough, help us to remember hope, love, joy, community, and faith. Help us to draw strength from our spouses, our children, and our families who support us and who love us dearly. And help us to be both resilient and vulnerable enough to ask for help when we need it. We lift up all of our veterans and their families for special prayers and healing. Stand with and protect those who are in harm's way across the globe. Finally, O Lord, as we look toward the heavens to give us continued victory over our enemies, we know and are assured that our fallen comrades feel honored, and we know and believe that they are proud that we are still standing the watch. In the name of the one who sacrificed himself for all of creation, amen.
It is our honor to introduce the Mayor of Norfolk, Dr. Kenneth Cooper Alexander, a dedicated public servant whose leadership reflects our community's deepest values of service, unity, and resilience. Under his guidance, our city continues to honor its rich history, strengthen its ties to our military community, and advance toward a future built on opportunity and shared purpose. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Alexander.
Good afternoon and welcome to Norfolk. First, let me give my many thanks to the Norfolk Veterans Affairs Commission for bringing us together once again. Congressman Scott, flag, general officers, active duty service members, distinguished guests, and veterans. It's an honor to welcome you to Norfolk's annual gathering to remember and honor the brave men and women who gave their lives in service to our nation. I'm joined by members of the Norfolk City Council and Administration, Carlos Clanton, Pat Roberts, Deputy City Manager LaVoris Pace, members of our school board, Ken Paulson, our delegate, Jackie Hope Glass, our Commonwealth Attorney, Ramin Fadahi, is with me as well as Diane Kaufman, representing Senator King's office. And many of our military leaders from across our region, thank you all for standing with us on this most important day. I want to especially recognize our Gold Star mothers and families with us today. Your strength, sacrifice are a living testament to your loved ones' service. On behalf of a very grateful city, we offer our deepest respect and gratitude. I want to take a moment to recognize the Gold Star mothers who are with us today, whose loved ones made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. Ms. Mona Gunn, mother of, please stand, Sigmund, Sharon L. Gunn, United States Navy. Angela Bell, mother, Master Sergeant Sean H. Bell, United States Army. Maggie Strickland, mother, Corporal Joshua C. Strickland, United States Marines. Mary Strong, mother of Sergeant Charles C. Strong, United States Marines. Helen Christine Newman, mother, Staff Sergeant Jamie Carlos Newman, United States Army. Nikki Ragsby, mother of Seaman Dakota Cal Ragsby, United States Navy. Thank you for honoring us with your presence again. Did I miss someone? Please stand. I don't have you. Please stand. Tell us who you. Come on up here to the mic and tell us.
Good afternoon. I'm a proud Army veteran. I'm the proud Gold Star mother of Lance Corporal Keelan Terrell Dunn, United States Marine Corps, killed in action on February the 18th, 2010 in Marja, Afghanistan. He is the first and the oldest of his siblings who are now in active duty Air Force, and the oldest brother of a United States Coast Guard veteran. Proud to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Also from Senator Warner's office, Gene Garner. Thank you, Gene. Thank you for being here as well. Throughout history, Norfolk has been a place where millions of servicemen and women answered the call of duty and where many began their final journey. Here at the MacArthur Memorial, we stand among memorials that remind us of the courage and sacrifice, our city's commitment to honoring the memory, and our commitment is unwavering. Today, we renew our commitment to uphold the freedoms for which they fought and to keep faith with those who serve and those they left behind. On behalf of a very grateful city and the Norfolk City Council, thank you for being here today, thank you for remembering, and thank you for continuing to honor the legacy of our fallen heroes. Thank you. There's another a Gold Star mother. Please come. I'm so sorry I didn't have your name, but please, you're welcome. Sorry for the omission.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am the proud daughter of the late Staff Sergeant Joseph Michael Harkabeth. He passed away in 1993, non-combat death related, however, it is service related. I am also an Army veteran and a 24-year retired naval spouse. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Alexander. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and members of our military community, it is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Veterans Services, John Maxwell. Commissioner Maxwell is a 28-year United States Navy veteran who retired in 2019 as a Navy captain and Carrier Strike Group Chief of Staff. After leaving active duty, he worked in private industry and was appointed Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Veterans Services from 2020 to 2022. He later led veteran-focused organizations in Central Virginia and served as COO of the Chimney Trail Foundation. In January 2026, Governor Abigail Spanberger reappointed him as Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Veterans Services. John is a graduate of the United States Naval Academy and holds an MBA from Auburn University. Please join us and welcome him to the stage.
Well, good afternoon, and I'm so thrilled to be here. Mayor Alexander, thank you for having me, and thank you to the Office of Military and Veterans Affairs and the Military and Veterans Commission here, and as well as the Memorial Day Commission for inviting me to speak. It's such a wonderful tribute for those who died in defense of our country and our Commonwealth. I'd also like to thank Donna Manglikmott for coordinating the logistics of getting me here, and I suspect that she was part of the backbone of the planning today. The precision of the color guard from Joint Expeditionary Base Little Creek, Fort Story, was exceptional. And Ms. Rodriguez, your rendition of the national anthem was extraordinarily beautiful. Please accept our sincere thank you. As the mayor introduced, we have Gold Star families in our audience. And of course, we have many veterans and friends who are the friends and battle buddies of lost service members. Thank you for being here today and for carrying the memory of those who died in service to our nation. We know that if it wasn't for their courage and commitment, and for that matter, the commitment of all current and former service members, that we would not be endowed with the blessings of liberties and freedom. I'll add here also that it's a magnificent place to take a moment to reflect on service, life, and family. Over the last 24 hours, we held a Say Their Names event at the Virginia War Memorial in Richmond, where volunteers read the names of 12,000 Virginians who lost their lives in service to our nation and whose names are inscribed on the walls of the memorial's Shrine of Memory. We read their names aloud, beginning with World War II in Accomack County, all the way through the last name from the Global War on Terror. Because publicly saying their names every year reminds us of a debt that we simply cannot repay. Over the past year, 2 service members from Norfolk were added to the Shrine of Memory, and I'll take a moment to share their names and a brief story. First, Sergeant Robert B. Heel, who served in the Army Air Corps in World War II in the 676th Bomber Squadron, entering the Army in January of 1943. He was a radioman aboard a B-29 Superfortress when it collided with another B-29 over the Bay of Bengal. And while the crew of the other B-29 survived, Sergeant Heel and his crew were never found. And then there's Corporal Theodore Lundy, who served in the Army in the Korean War in the 503rd Field Artillery Battalion, 2nd Division. In February 1951, Corporal Landy was among a group of Americans taken as prisoners of war. He was marched into Prisoner of War Camp 1 on the banks of the Yalu River and died shortly after his arrival to the camp due to malnutrition. And unfortunately, his remains were never recovered. Service members like Sergeant Heel, and Corporal Landy came from all walks of life, and they shared several fundamental qualities. They possessed pride in themselves, in their unit, and in their country. They displayed a selfless dedication to duty and integrity, and they demonstrated a true willingness to make the ultimate sacrifice for the cause in which they believed. Thousands of Americans have fought and died on battlefields here and abroad to defend our freedoms and way of life. And the next generation of Americans is stepping forward and saying, "I'm ready to serve." And they willingly follow in the footsteps of brave Americans, and our hearts follow with them. On March 12th, we witnessed an extreme demonstration of bravery and courage through actions of Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw and ROTC students at Old Dominion University, who stopped further violence in a classroom attack that devastatingly took Lieutenant Colonel Shaw's life. Today, we remembered Lieutenant Colonel Shaw, a former ODU student and leader of ODU's ROTC program, as he sacrificed himself, just as he would have done any other day, flying throughout his career in missions over Iraq, Afghanistan, and Eastern Europe. We will never forget him. And even though we have tributes, nothing can ever fill the hole left behind by a fallen service member. Our Gold Star families, our Gold Star mothers here today and around Virginia and the nation, they know this better than anyone. They never asked to carry this load, nor did they ever want to be on this journey. Yet every single day they step forward and support one another and other families of service members, because they know that without family, our military cannot fully commit to upholding their oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You know, I would be remiss if I didn't invoke General MacArthur's name during my remarks today. And candidly, a good portion of his farewell speech at West Point in May of 1962 could easily be substituted for my remarks. And I'll add, if you've never read that speech and you've never seen those remarks, I'd strongly encourage you to do so. It will reach very, very deep inside of you. I'm going to offer a short excerpt from his speech here, or from that speech, but I've got to give a little bit of context. When he did this in 1962, he was speaking to an all-male audience, all the cadets were male, and referring to, at the time, a predominantly male military. But his sentiment describes all service members and veterans because sacrifice, selfless service, courage, and bravery do not care what gender you are. So referring to the American soldier and service member, General MacArthur said, "He belongs to history as furnishing one of the greatest examples of successful patriotism. He belongs to posterity as the instructor of future generations in the principles of liberty and freedom. He belongs to the present, to us, by his virtues and by his achievements." And then later, General MacArthur articulates the sentiment of Memorial Day perfectly. "However horrible the incidents of war may be, the soldier who is called upon to offer and give his life for his country is the noblest development of mankind." The legacy of selfless service that General MacArthur describes is undoubtedly foundational to the liberties and freedoms granted in our Constitution. And to honor that legacy, we can do so much more than to simply gather and remember. We can understand and teach our history. Think of the dozens of think of the citizen soldiers during the American Revolution who offered themselves to a poorly resourced fighting force that faced one of the strongest armies in the world. And how about previously enslaved people fighting for the Union during the Civil War? And more recently, Americans have fought against oppression that threatened our ideals across Europe, in Japan, Korea, and the Middle East. We can follow their example of selfless service, never leave someone behind, look through our differences, and work together as a team. Do what's right by each other simply because it's the right thing to do. Joining the military is not for everyone, for a lot of reasons, but serving each other is definitely something that we can all do. To me, it's a simple call to action. Honor those we have lost by living up to the ideals that they died defending. So today we honor the fallen and we remember them, all of them, and the family and friends they left behind, with the love of a grateful nation and a grateful Commonwealth. Eternal Father, strong to save, we are grateful for the gift of service, and we ask that you continue to bless the United States of America and the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you very much.
Now we're going to do the rededication of the POW and the MIA table. Colonel Kleinbell, U.S. Army, retired, member of the City of Norfolk Veterans Affairs Advisory Commission and VFW Post 4809, has set the missing persons table.
The table is set for one, symbolizing the frailty of one isolated prisoner. However, today, it represents all Americans who are missing from each of the armed services and civil service, as they are all with us in spirit. The table is round to represent everlasting concern on the part of the survivors for their missing loved ones. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. The single red rose in the vase signifies the blood that many have shed in sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. The rose also reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep the faith while awaiting their return. The red ribbon symbolizes our continued determination to account for those who have not returned. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in a foreign land. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears of our missing and their families who long for answers after decades of uncertainty. An inverted glass, which represents the fact that the missing and the fallen cannot partake. The candle, reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, to open arms of a grateful nation. And the empty chair, to symbolize the missing and the falling, that they are not physically present with us, but are so in spirit. May we always remember.
We welcome Mayor Alexander, Commissioner Maxwell, and Major General Reynes to come forward for the wreath-laying portion of the ceremony. And Congressman Bobby Scott.